Hi everyone, Melissa here. Today, I know I said I have been wanting to do this video that I'm going to be doing today for a while now, where I try out different shapes on one hand. I kind of am loving the shape that I've been doing, the tapered square. I think it goes well with my nail bed shape, the longer nail bed, but I really want to try out some other things. I know I've done some in the past, but it has been a while, and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to play. I had to take off my builder gel anyway because it was too grown out. So I'm gonna be just kind of having some fun. I am going to use my nail forms. Now, unfortunately, these are the only ones I have. I had some of the more square-shaped ones, but I don't know what happened to them in my move. They kind of went, I don't know where everything else I got lost during the move went. So I'm just going to be using these to do all of the shapes. I'm going to do my standards. So I'll do my tapered square, coffin, tapered square, whatever you want to call it. If it was longer, it would probably be coffin or ballerina, but because I do it a little bit shorter, it's more of a tapered square. I'll do an almond, I'll do a stiletto, I will do a square, and then I think I may do a round on the thumb just so that there are 5. And see how it goes. For the square, I am probably going to end up having to apply the form a little bit higher up the nail than I usually would, just because it does, these forms naturally start to curve in, and I want it to come out a little bit straighter, but that's not a problem. I'll work with it however I have to get it to work the way I want it to. So far I just have my nails cut down. I did my prep. I have buffed, well, I'm going to rebuff the nails because I got a little bit of shine on them. I want to make sure they don't have shine on them. Sorry for awful buff sounds. All right, I'm going to use a dehydrator. This says primer. It's a Royal House of Beauty. I just grabbed the first one I could find. It says primer on it, but you know it's a dehydrator if when you brush it on the nail and you let it sit for a second, you see it start to dry the nail out and it gets rid of the shine on it. That's how you know that it is actually a dehydrator. And then I'm going to use my gel primer. This is More Than. It's just the brand I got. I got it off of Amazon, and it works well for me. This actually preps the nail so that the gel will adhere to it better. And then you just do a layer of gel base coat, and I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds. I'm using my West Coast Dipp'd gel base coat today. Okay, I'm going to be using my double dipped HEMA-free builder gel today in clear. Remember that if you order double dipped, you can use my code melissasmanis15 for 15% off any purchase you make. So I'm going to start with the pinky here and just put a little bit on here. All right, I don't want too much because it will pull out underneath. So just enough to get a nice light layer. Now I'm just doing this for extensions underneath dip powder. So I don't need to do these really thick. I need them to be thick enough that it's not bendy, but I don't need to be so thick that they can like hold up or they're really strong on their own. I also don't need to worry about the infill because again, it's going to be under dip powder. The dip powder is going to give it that strength. But I am going to apply this about here. Actually, I'm a little concerned that this form might be too large since I'm applying it further up the nail, but actually it's not too bad. Okay, and I'm going to give that a cure just to set that in place. You'll notice that for most of these, I do apply them a little bit higher than my cuticle line, and I get questions about that sometimes on these. And the main reason I do that is, one, because the shape of the bottom of the form does not match the shape of my cuticle line, so I kind of have to put it a little bit higher. But also because I have this natural kind of curve on my nail, so if I were to put it all the way down, then it would come straight out and I'd have this huge gap. So I have to kind of go along with the curve that comes down the nail at the top. But it's okay because, as I said before, I don't have to fill this or anything. I do end up getting strength once I put the dip powder over the top. If you were just doing builder gel by itself, you would have to fill in that space and add extra strength, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, now I can pop all these off. Usually you'd have a tacky surface on your builder gel, but when you pull off the forms, it doesn't have one. So I don't even really need to wipe these, but I'm gonna kind of clean up around the cuticle area. I did have a little bit that overflowed on this nail here, so I have to do some cleanup. I'm gonna use my nippers to kind of cut off the part that flowed out the side. All right, I'm gonna start with the pinky and doing the square shape. I'm just gonna go around the edge on the sides here. I've got a little itty bit of overhang, and got a little bit of a ridge right there just from applying it higher up the nail, so just kind of smooth that down a little. Careful not to file the real nail here. All right, so I'm gonna cut this down first, carefully, so as not to really mess up the builder gel. So when I use the nippers here, I kind of angle them upward so that if it does like kind of crack off a little piece, it will crack it off going upwards and not downwards, so I don't have to make it any shorter. All right, so far so good. I'm just gonna make that nice and straight and flat. Say, when I used to go get my nails done at the salon, straight was what they always, or I'm sorry, square was what they always did. Always. They would never do any other shapes. So for a long time, this was all I wore. And I honestly didn't love it on my nails. I feel like my nails already look like long and thin enough. And I feel like that straight shape kind of adds to that effect. All right. Next, I said this one was going to be stiletto. Yes. So again, I'm going to start just by cleaning up the sides here. And I know stiletto needs to be longer, but I kind of want to go a little bit shorter than this because my nail beds are long enough already. I don't know. I just feel like that's a lot for my hands. I don't know. I'm gonna go just about down to here. I still think that is a okay length for stiletto to be. Don't want stiletto to get too short. And then I'm just gonna file in at an angle until it's to a point there. I'm just kind of going back and forth, side to side, just doing a little bit on each side at a time. I did kind of come in with my nippers and clip a little bit off just to speed up the process a bit. But that is a risky move because it's really hard to control exactly how your nippers are going to behave when you work with them. Okay, now this one. This one's going to be almond. So again, cleaning up the sides. Just going to do the same thing I did to start off the other two. All right, also again, I'm going to cut it down a bit because I think it doesn't need to be that long. Okay, for this one, again, I'm gonna kind of mark. I'm gonna buff it first, just at the end, so the pen stays on easier. Just so we know kind of where center of the tip is. And rounding it out at the tip. I'm going to make the tip a little more narrow. I just think that'll be more flattering. You know, you'll see some variations on some of these shapes, like on the almonds and on the stilettos, and I feel like sometimes that just people make those decisions based on how it looks best on their own hands, on their own nails, how well certain shapes and curves go with the natural curve of their nail. I mean, sometimes you just have to make adjustments until you think it looks right on you. Okay, I think I like that. All right, next, this guy for my usual tapered square. So again, just cleaning up the sides where it went over. Okay, and this one I'm gonna go for just a slightly more rounded. I did this one a little more pointed, so it's definitely closer to an almond. I think the thumb is gonna be kind of somewhere between a round and a oval. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna play with it. All right, so I think these are in a pretty good place. This turned out pretty interesting. It's kind of like a rounded, I don't even know, oval, what you would call it exactly, but I think it works well with the thumb. I didn't want to make it like too, I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna put some dip powder over this. I'm just gonna do a really easy, simple color that isn't gonna detract too much from the shape. I'm gonna use Revel Erica just because it's really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and do a gel top coat over this. I'm gonna be using the Double Dipped Ultra Shine top coat, and then a peel off base coat. So peel base, the double dipped as well. And then I'll get to putting Erica on. Alright, I did 4 dips on each of these just to make sure there was enough strength, especially for these longer nails. Now I'm just going to activate and then I will file them. Okay, so I'm going to be, when I file this, doing my normal filing method, which is intended to maintain and actually reinforce the original shape of the nail when you first shaped it, because as you can see, when you add this dip powder on top, sometimes it kind of loses a little bit of that sharpness. So the first thing is always going around the edge to get that perimeter of the nail pretty much back to where you had it when you first shaped it. And that includes going around the cuticle just to clean up any bumpies or lumpies that might have occurred during application. Then once you have that shape going around back the way you want it, then you will shape along the top. And I always do that at a 45-degree angle, coming up from the side. And that just kind of brings that nice rounded shape of the nail back. Okay, I think that these are shaped up pretty well. I'm going to just buff them and then I'm gonna do just a gel top coat over it. Okay, and there we are with our shapes. I honestly, again, I don't love the square shape on me. My fingers are already really long and thin, and I feel like this just elongates them more, but that could just be me. I actually am kind of obsessed with this stiletto nail, which tells me I need to do a stiletto design at some point. I am not in love with how I did the almond. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I need to just kind of change the exact shape of it a little bit. I'll have to play with that maybe for another video. We all know I love this one, but this was my big surprise. I actually really love this thumbnail. Maybe this is more of the almond shape I need to do here. Maybe I should make it not quite as pointy, a little more rounded out. So that's something that I can try another time, but let me know what you think. What do you think looks good? Which one do you like best? And do you have any that you'd like me to try? If I can have, if I have 5 more different shapes requested below, I may do this again with some new shapes. This was fun and I really like trying out new things. So I think I'm gonna use some of these for different designs. You know, different designs just look better with some shapes than others. I don't know. Something to play with, but yep. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a little bit, and I'll see you next time.